Hey, Raylan.
Hi, Dr. Kelley. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Are you excited? Are you nervous?
Uh, yeah, I'm all of that. Uh, so, here's something I'm gonna need your help with.
Hi, Dr.
Um,
Kelley. How are you?
Good.
I'm good. Are you excited? Are you nervous?
I got feedback. Okay, I'm on YouTube. I don't know if you can see. Are you able to access the YouTube stream?
Let's see.
Okay, and I'm gonna let people in just a second.
Let me know also if I have too much background noise.
Okay, will do, or I'll mute you. But
Okay.
so also, I guess I'll need you to occasionally pop links into the chat if
Okay.
you get the drift. Okay, cool. And
I see us on YouTube Live. Everything's good.
okay,
No,
great.
so if I
I'm
have
gonna
too much.
go ahead. I got two watching on YouTube. Okay, I'm about to let people in. All right. It is 6:02 Eastern Standard Time. We're ready to kick off the very first of what I hope is many or becomes many episodes of North End Live with me, your host, Councilwoman Melody Kelley. The name is a work in progress, but allow me to say good evening to those of you who are on the Zoom. So, hey, Diane, and hi, Bill. Right, and
Hi,
how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, thanks for chiming in. So this is the first time I'm doing this, so it's going to be full of technical difficulties. I'm just going to kick off by asking for grace. Um, let me hold on. I want to hit myself. Okay. Oh, Adrian. Hey, Adrian. Okay. I think if you comment on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, you should be able to comment. Uh, I believe Raylan will be able to see your comments. Hey, Adrian, could you test YouTube for me and put a comment into YouTube if you can, if you get a chance? Okay, sorry, just working that out. Okay, well, I'll start by just giving a brief introduction for those who don't know me. I am Melody Kelley. I represent District 2 in the city of Sandy Springs. I'm a city councilwoman, and I've been a city councilwoman since January of 2022. So I just finished my fourth year. I'm in the fifth year, and I'm trying new things. And so North End Live is an experiment. I just ran for re-election this past November, this past year. And one of the things that occurred to me, oh, you can't. Okay, thanks, Adrian. One of the things that occurred to me was that I was not communicating enough with my constituents. I just wasn't. I have a monthly newsletter. Actually, it would we'll figure out a way to pop that link to sign up for the newsletter in the chat. Although I'm sure if you're on this call, you probably are already on the list. But other than the newsletter and social media, there was just no, I wasn't happy with the extent that I have been engaged with the community. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do a lot, but I was just not happy. So I'm exploring different ways to connect with the community, and because podcasting and live streaming is trendy, I was like, okay, let me try to get in on the trend. So we'll see how this works. My plan is to do this monthly and just see how it goes. My number one priority is trying to be consistent with it. So I'm going to get on here every month. It would be great to maybe develop a cadence. So let's see how Friday nights work. I'm open to feedback. In fact, speaking of feedback, we have a form that will allow you to provide any feedback. And Raylan, when you have an opportunity, if you can pop that into the chat for our for those who are on Zoom and maybe even our YouTube audience when you get an opportunity. And thank you for creating that form. Okay, looks like I paused. I'm going to assume everyone can still hear me. If you see me looking over, it's because I'm looking at another screen that has my agenda. I'm going to try my best to look straightforward, but oh, you're on. Okay. Well, thank you, Adrian. All right, so today what I want to talk about, I want to talk about the retreat. I have a couple of topics in mind, and I'm also open to questions. So if you're on Zoom, feel free to pop them into the chat. Any questions you might have or comments. But I want to talk about our retreat that we just had earlier, a couple of weeks ago, earlier in February, the mayor and council retreat. I'm not going to talk about the whole retreat, but what I expect to do over the next few months leading into budget season is just go through several topics. The first topic that was covered in retreat, I think you'll appreciate this. The North End was a pretty big topic in the retreat. So we're going to talk about different ways that the northern section of the city was discussed. All right. And when I say North End, just to give you an idea in terms of the geography, I am specifically referring to the Roswell Road commercial corridor. And let's call North End, I'm going to call it north of Abernathy. We're going to call it north of Abernathy and Roswell Road. And for the most part. And that'll be east and west sides of the street is what we're referring to. Right? Now, what I'm just going to give a few updates. So first thing about the North End that I want you to know is that redevelopment in the North End is officially, hold on, let me find it. It's officially the number one economic development priority for the city of Sandy Springs. So this is a hard copy of a document. You can find this in the retreat packet and I'll actually copy the link for you in just a second into the chat so you can actually find the agenda packet for the retreat. Just give me one sec. Let me get that for you. Matter of fact, I may end up sharing my screen if I need to. We'll see. Again, I ask for grace, full disclosure. I've never done this before. Again, for those of you who don't know me, I do have a day job. I teach for a living. That's how I earn my living. And hold on, here we go. Okay. And that's so when I refer to the agenda packet or I show you materials, I'm sitting here with hard copies of everything, but you can access the agenda at that link there. And that link is actually accessible through the sandyspringsga.gov website. If you go to public meetings, you can you'll enter the platform that has all of the resources there. Okay. So that's the number one thing I'm excited about. In black and white, in writing, public record, as a matter of public record, the North End is officially the top priority, followed closely by City Springs 2.0. But I want to take a moment to thank the residents of the North End because you are the reason that this is happening. I mean, I represent you, but it was you who advocated and indicated to the city how important it is that we redirect our focus to that area. And I'm just happy to be here to support that work. Okay, let's talk about another aspect of the North End. There's a lot, so I don't have to go through it all today, but something else I'm excited about. I'm going to show you all a concept, a high level development concept. I'm going to share my screen. Hold on, give me 1 second. North End presentation, part 2. Boom. Okay. Let me. All right. Hold on. Open presentation mode. Okay. You all tell me if you can see this. Hold on. Let me share. Actually, oh, here we are. Okay. All right. So I am sharing my screen. Hold on. I believe you all can see it. I'm following along here. And what I want to do is put this in presentation mode. This is something that you can do. This is what I'm doing is publicly available. But I want us to look at a few of the slides. This is one of the things that was it most exciting to me. And again, there's much to unpack about the North End, but this is one of the more exciting features of the retreat that we just had a few weeks ago, where our new-ish economic development director, former councilman Chris Burnett, made a presentation. So he showed us a few slides. North End redevelopment to talk about, and those of you who have lived here a while, you know exactly what I mean. And actually, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, in a future meeting, I'd be happy to go over background. So let's look at this slide. Now, this slide is from a study that the city funded hmm, back in 2020, believe it or not, just before COVID. It's formally called the North End Redevelopment Plan, and what it did was it looked at 4 shopping centers and reimagined 4 shopping centers. So what we are looking at here is specifically the North River Village Shopping Center, which is the northernmost commercial shopping center on Roswell Road. It'll be just before you get to the river on the east side of the street. Uh, a lot of people refer to it as the shopping center that had stars and stripes. Um, could also, some people know it as the shopping center with the Dollar General. Some people know it as the shopping center with the Samads. Either way, it's one of our older shopping centers, ripe for redevelopment. In fact, we rezoned this parcel, which is about 14 acres. We rezoned it a couple years ago when I first joined council. During my first year, we rezoned it. And we rezoned it to something called the North End Mixed Use District. We are looking at a development that conforms to it. And as you can see in this concept, and I'm going to show you another one that's a little more realistic. This one is about 5 years old, this drawing that you can see on the screen. And hold on, I want to check something. Okay. Okay, but you can see it's a few components of it is you have retail sort of in the middle, you have some single family homes, and you do have some apartments or what I refer to as multifamily um, residences. And another key feature of this plan is a public park or a green space in the middle. So that's important to keep in mind. Just make sure, check the chat, make sure. Raylan, if you could just let me know if anything does pop into the chat, that would be awesome. Oh, sorry. Okay. Now what we're looking at is a plan, a concept plan that was actually submitted. All right, I'm gonna go here. That was submitted by a developer, gosh, late January. It was submitted by Woodfield Development Group. They are based in South Carolina, and they are currently working on the project at Embassy Row off of Peachtree Dunwoody, or formerly Embassy Row, or maybe it's still Embassy Row. But Peachtree Dunwoody, they're working on a project there. But this is what they presented. Mixed use, let's say it's about 100 townhomes, 300 apartments, 24,000 square feet of retail, but instead of green space, you have a bunch of surface parking in the middle. So you can see that you can probably imagine that we took some issue with that. And what our staff has been working on is transforming it into something more in line with the earlier concept. And this is the most up-to-date version of what is envisioned potentially for that site. I need to say something and make and be very clear about this. This is not a City of Sandy Springs project. This is a private project that developers have started to formally submit paperwork to uh, to uh, to develop. So let's look at the components. Let's see if I'm looking at this correctly. All right. So up top you have Roswell Road. So you're looking west up top and east, and then to the right you are moving north to the right, and to the left you are moving east. All right, so on the northern side of the project, you have the single family townhomes, which the city is working on ensuring that those townhomes are for sale and owner occupied, which was important. The community was very adamant about that. And then on the south side, you have the multifamily component, which is kind of seen there in gray. And of course, there's a parking deck associated with it. In the middle, you can see more of a green space or plaza with the retail shaded in sort of a light pink or beige color. And also what you can see in orange there, this was a concept created by internally by one of our planners. But what you can see in orange there is what we refer to as the Springway Trail, part of segment 1 of the Springway Trail or the Trail Master Plan. If you want to take a deep dive into that, that's actually worth a meeting in itself just to discuss that plan and its implications for our district. Okay, so this is what I was excited about. It looks like there is some momentum on the private side. So it looks like there's some momentum to finally redevelop n- uh, a catalyst site. And I just wanted to give you all a glimpse of what that could look like. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Again, that is just a high level concept plan. Hold up. So nothing is set in stone yet, but it's encouraging that um, ownership and the development group, they are coming to the table and appear to be ready to move. In fact, the tentative timeline that was shared with me was possibly breaking ground in the summer, but we know anything can happen. We know that. So when it comes to private development, definitely want to take it with a grain of salt. Hold on. Oh, this actually was a cool, let me, so actually you'll appreciate this part. I stopped sharing a little too early. You all will appreciate this. Okay, so what we walked away with as an act. Oh, I'm muted. I hope I haven't been muted. Please tell me I haven't been muted. No, I haven't been. Okay. What we walked away with an understanding of for as far as next steps is that we are through our development authority, we are going to sit down with the developers and try to negotiate um, incentives, incentives to accomplish certain policy goals, which are ensuring owner occupancy in the single family. We also want to negotiate public green space. We want to negotiate some city-owned parking spaces. Remember, I mentioned the Springway Trail. Well, it would be great to have some city-owned public parking spaces um, to accommodate trail users. And we also want to ensure that the retail is of the highest class that it can be. And so those are certain points that the city wants to sort of come to the table to discuss. So what are next steps is this will once things are ready, it'll be brought to the city council. Actually, it'll be brought to the development authority first, which is a public meeting. And then assuming that a deal, or what's referred to here as a payment in lieu of taxes agreement, which is very similar to what we did at the recently with the Hillcrest development here at City Springs. But anyway, once that's all settled, we'll see it in a development authority public meeting and then in a city council meeting. And of course, I will keep you all updated, but that would be huge. So I'm going to keep my hopes up for maybe March, April. So let's say Q1, late Q1, early Q2. Maybe we'll see something. Maybe a deal can be struck and we can get the council and development authority in agreement and make something happen to spur redevelopment in the North End. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Yeah. Yeah, I was told that Friday night, I'm reading a comment in Zoom that Friday night at 6 p.m. is not a good time. Um, yeah, we'll likely move it around. I am experimenting. This was good for my schedule, so I'm trying to figure it out. But maybe we'll do a Monday night. I know weekends are not great though. Will there be some housing for essential workers? So if you're referring to more, yeah, so you're talking about Diane's question in the chat is, will there be housing incentives for essential workers? Examples, teachers, firemen, police, so workforce housing. So there is, the housing is currently set to be market rate. The multifamily and the single family is currently set to be market rate. This zoning was built with some housing incentives where they can get a little more height if they did incorporate, 10% workforce housing. The developers have not taken advantage of that just yet. So this deal currently does not have formal workforce housing components in it. Yeah. Um, but there's still plenty of opportunity to build that into other deals. And we had a really interesting, actually, another interesting part of the retreat was we had an update to our housing needs assessment, and we could take a deep dive into that too at some point to really understand where the most affordable, naturally occurring affordable housing and what the needs are and where the gaps are in our housing. We could actually talk about that more. But that's a great question. And, that's something that I definitely care about. Yep, it's ensuring. So, yeah, we're looking at a price point. Actually, I cannot recall exactly what the price point is that we're looking at, but it'll definitely be market rate. So, yeah. Let's see, any questions on YouTube? Doesn't look like it. All right. Now, the next thing, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about related to the North End, but I'm going to talk about this because I think last week or the week before last, we had a public meeting, a public open house for the North End, Roswell Road North Boulevard project. So I just want to show you guys that and talk through it, if that's okay. Um, okay. Because that aligns, you'll notice that it's a similar section of the city to where the previous project that I showed you. So you'll also notice, oh, there it is. Okay. I'm going to show you guys a few uh, displays from our, okay, here we are. I will share this and then this will be the last thing I share and then we can close it out or talk about some other stuff. Okay, we are looking, I'm gonna maximize this just a little bit. Okay, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. All right, you all, we're looking at a little schematic here from for the Roswell Road North End Boulevard project. So when you think about where North River Village Shopping Center is, now imagine from Dunwoody Place north to the river. Um, This is a pretty transformative streetscaping and transportation improvement project. So let's look at some of the key features as currently designed. Full disclosure, I actually take issue with this design, and I can tell you what I take issue with some of the medians, but we can talk about that. Okay, so what we're looking at in this figure is to the left, we are looking at the Dunwoody Place Roswell Road intersection, which is being reimagined to make it just a little bit safer to traverse. You can see in green, there is plenty of median or boulevarding planned to take place. There's also the incorporation of wider side paths in place of sidewalks as well as landscaping. But some other parts of this project are, let's moving north with the cursor here. So another part of this project is an intersection at North River Parkway, a signalized intersection. Sorry, North River Parkway and Roswell Road, a signalized intersection. That's pretty significant. Now, if I stroll down a little bit, technically I'm moving east right now. I want to show you the new Roberts Drive connector street that's being planned. There's some controversy about where the sidewalks will be, but that has not been finalized yet, where the sidewalks will be on Roberts Drive, because I know there's a little bit of controversy around that. But the idea is to have a new side street connecting Roberts Drive to North River Parkway here, and then having North River Parkway as a signalized intersection. So what will be prevented? Well, you will no longer be able to make a left turn out of Roberts Drive. I mean, out of Roberts Drive going south on Roswell Road. You'll no longer be able to do that. It will be right. You can only make a right turn in and a right turn out of Roberts Drive. That's one of the major impacts. And we're still working on ensuring that, we're still working on ensuring that the signalized intersection meets the needs of future development as well. So, but that's going to be it's going to definitely change the way that the northernmost part of the city actually looks. So, very excited about that project. Guess when it's planned to start? 2029. And that's a whole other issue. So it's slow. It's going to be a slower project. I would say think of it almost like Mount Vernon, like the Mount Vernon project, just in terms of I know, Raylan. I see your reaction. Let me stop sharing. 2029, but that'll be here around that's around the corner. So what I want to encourage us to do is just make sure we get the design right. Let's just get the design down. That's the phase we are in. Get the design, get the funding, and execute this project and do it in alignment with some other developments and really revitalize this section. I have a good feeling. So all of that to say, I am very optimistic about the North End in this first episode of North End Live. I look forward to taking deep dives into the Springway Trail system. We have to talk about that. I want to talk about the dog park. I want to talk about parks and facilities in general. I want to talk about riverfront access, sidewalks, transportation. Actually, yeah, that's an important announcement. We are currently transportation master planning. Let me pop a link in the chat. I want everybody to have input on the transportation master plan. Just had a North End open house about that too. Transportation master plan. Hold on. There we are. So I'm going to pop a link to the Transportation Master Plan website, but it's kind of important that we participate. I know you're thinking, oh, it's just another plan. What is this? Well, this plan is going to directly inform the projects that get proposed in the next T-SPLOST sales tax referendum, which will be in 2026. So your input is directly tied to a funding mechanism. It's important, and I'd like to be able to advocate for some specific interventions up north. I would. Okay. Also, let me give you this announcement. Our next meeting is Tuesday, and the agenda just dropped. on our website. Actually have not even looked at it myself, but I'm gonna pop this link in the chat as well. So we can, so if you wanna kind of follow what's going on in real time, be a good idea to check that the meeting agenda and the work session agenda out. I'll be looking at it tonight. Let's see what's been in the news lately. Any and then I'll shut up. But let's talk about what's been in the news lately. So, huh. Oh, shout out to Sandy Springs Police Department for their the exercise with the massage parlors. So that's been a few months in the working, in the making. That is another, not to brag, but that's another thing that came from District 2, North End constituents. You all had started to report the possibility of nefarious activity, and I think that triggered this entire investigation. So thank you again for being so vigilant, and kudos to SSPD for that. Let's see. Oh, also, this didn't really make the news, but it was kind of a big deal a couple days ago in the district. The signal at Grogan's Ferry Road and Roswell Road was, I don't want to say out of service, but not quite behaving properly. The timing was off at the signal. And I just want to thank all the constituents that reached out to let myself and the city know it has been addressed in the short term. And we have some long-term solutions as well to address those sensors. But it's a good opportunity to share that we have an app called Sandy Springs Works and a 24-hour hotline where you can call and basically tell us anything. I once called the number because there was a half dead raccoon on the street. And when I tell you it was handled within an hour or so. So anytime you see something, potholes, signals that are behaving, that are working, that are not operating properly, funny business at massage parlors, anytime, anything you see, this is a good, either the phone number or the app. Please report it. You never know. Okay. Hmm. So with that, I will ask Raylan to pop the link for our citizen spotlight opportunity. Believe it or not, I do plan to have guests. I didn't have guests this time because I wanted to leave room for technical difficulties. But this seemed, it went smoothly. I'll improve upon it. And to your point, Mr. Moore, I'll look at different times. We'll experiment a little bit. Maybe people do have lives and do things on Friday nights. I just don't. So I didn't even really think about it. But no, you're right. Normal people, maybe a Wednesday. Or maybe we could do like early in the morning. No, that was, I don't know. Let's try. We'll try some things. And I'll get some input. But I'd love to, actually, Diane, I'd love to have you on as a guest once I get all my stuff figured out. I'd love to have you on as a guest. We can meet in person.
Yes, you're doing a phenomenal job. Thanks for hosting this. I'm so super excited about this.
Yeah, maybe we can. I thank you. Thank you. And thank you
Mhm.
for all you do in the community. I'm not going to give that away because I want people to watch and meet you once, when I have you on as a guest. But Diane's pretty awesome. So,
Thanks.
yep,
So are
yep.
you. I'm trying to follow in your footsteps.
Very funny. Yeah. So, let's see. Are there any other questions or anything we can talk about? I don't want to talk about everything. Not in one meeting. I'd love to kind of space it out, give it to you incrementally. Yep. I do want to devote a meeting to, or part of a meeting to discussing our unhoused community and ways the city can be involved there. Maybe we can do that. Oh, look, Adrian's commenting. Okay, on YouTube. So now I'm seeing YouTube's comments. But yeah, I want to devote some time to discussing public transit and MARTA. Um, yeah, and so there's a lot to discuss. We can definitely take several meetings on public safety. Maybe bring one of the chiefs in and have them talk to us. That'll be fun. So yeah. Well, with that, I will end the meeting. So thank you all for being an amazing audience. And I'll catch you next time and try to give you more lead time too. I recognize it was short notice, so thanks for being here. I'll end the meeting now. Over and out.